Hello again. Well, I've gone and done it again. I've bought something that I probably shouldn't have bought. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll recognise this as another wind-up gramophone. And indeed, this is a Decca 10, introduced I believe in the 1930s and I think made up into the 1950s, so it's not clear quite when this dates from. Now, I knew something was not quite right with this as soon as I tried to wind it. So it came with a pretty standard looking winding handle. I put it in the hole at the front and basically nothing happens. It clearly doesn't engage with anything in there. And there's also no clip on the turntable, so it's possible just to lift that off. And you can see that as well as the screws which hold the motor in place, there are actually other screw holes here which go with the previous motor. And in fact, the more you look, you realise like the speed selector bar is missing from there, although the gauge is still there. And I think this probably is a speed selector or a speed adjuster here. Basically, it's got the wrong motor in it. Somebody has changed the motor, and although I didn't spot it immediately, the answer to the winding is quite simple. There's another hole. So this actually goes in here. And I've given it a couple of winds, but there's no life out of the motor at all. So I'm a bit reluctant to actually wind it anymore without having a look inside. A few other problems as well with it, most notably here, there's just some ugly bit of metal here, which I've wrapped with a bit of plastic. That's supposed to hold the tone arm. I'm not really sure what's going on down here. I'll have to have a better look at that at a later date, but basically it's just scratching. If I remove the, I can get it off, that is, there we are. If I remove the sound box, you can actually see there are some quite nasty scratches going back to the brass, I think it's brass anyway, where the sound box is just bashed against this piece of metal. So that's not right, there's something wrong there. I have actually tested the sound box on my other Decca 100 and actually it works fine. And also this clip at the front here, it's not working at all. It's quite a nice feature here though, I noticed. This is for, if I can get it to open. Right, just be able to see there. Little Bakelite style box swings out for used needles. I'll just pop that back in. That's a bit stiff. Got to be very careful with that and maybe lubricate that slightly with some candle wax or something. So the case is actually in reasonably okay condition. That looks like the original Rexine on there. It's got a nice pattern on it and there's a few little bits of damage, but I think it probably would tidy up okay. It's a nasty label there which might come off. Well, it's been removed, but there's the remains of the glue, and the handle is actually in pretty good condition as well. That actually is fine. So I think the next thing to do is to remove the motorboard. Motorboard seems to be held in with a few little screws. I'm doing this live. I genuinely have not taken this motorboard out before, so I really don't know what I'm going to find. Although actually, I'm guessing I'm going to find a Garrard motor which is very similar to the one that I bought separately that I'm going to use to build my record recording machine, which I showed the motor and a turntable in a previous video. So I've not actually built that machine yet, but it's very much something that I intend to build. Initially I thought this motorboard was a replacement or even possibly made of plastic, but I've had a look online and they certainly do seem to be like this. So it's a bit of an odd colour, but indeed this is the colour they were originally. I'm guessing here there was some sort of maker's label, which unfortunately is missing. If we're very lucky, there'll be something on the inside, maker's label, or possibly some other sort of information. That screw there is just spinning, but the board actually looks like it's going to come out, assuming that I have actually removed all the things which are holding it in place. I think it's possibly just heavy. Right. A moment of truth. What has been done to this machine? Well, there's quite an impressive horn there. So neither my Salon Decca 100 nor my Antoria gramophone have an internal horn like this, and indeed there is a very nice looking Garrard motor. I can't actually see a number on it, a model number on it, but it does actually look to be in really quite good condition. You can just see in there, that's clean and greased, so it may just need a good wind. No labels though, so, and I'm guessing a chunk has been taken out of that horn to allow the cogwheel from this motor to fit, as it's quite clear from the bottom. You can see, there we are, the mounting holes which were there instead, or were there before, for the other motor. Just having a quick look inside the case. Unfortunately, there is nothing written in there at all. It's unclear which bits of wood and the like are actually original. But no, there's nothing in there that helps. The winding handle is a bit beat up, but it's actually very similar to the ones on my other two gramophones. Certainly seems to be winding. But there's no sign of anything turning. It's possible that the speed control is just wound down too much. Ah, there we are. And that is indeed it. Right. So if you look at the governor there, if I adjust the speed control, suddenly the motor springs into life. So actually the speed control had been wound so tight, this pushes the pad against this wheel here. And that's what was stopping the motor running. Okay, so I found a record. I've put a needle in the sound box. This is one I nicked out of the little drawer down there. It's probably been used, but we won't worry about it too much. I put a few winds on it, and we'll give it a go. Right, I have no idea if that was the right speed or not, but in principle that actually works. So that's one gramophone that I bought in a apparently non-working condition, and I genuinely didn't think that it worked, and actually with a little bit of tinkering around it actually seems to be just fine. Well, fairly fine. Still need to sort this bit out here. There's definitely a couple of clips missing here, which I think the winding hand will go into, and I need to decide what I'm going to do with this fitting here that really is in the wrong place. That really should be round here, and maybe I'll just move it round there and cover that up. Maybe I'll make some sort of fitting. I'm tempted to make some sort of Decca badge or something, but I say that, but whether I'll actually bother is another question. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Mr. RG Stuff. And by the way, this video has been done on my new camcorder, which I may talk about more later. So it's actually been recorded in full HD, and I will upload it in full HD as well.